I've been waiting, hoping, and working for this my entire life. And now, now I'm finally here, in the Blue Room of the White House in Washington, D.C. This is the biggest honor that can be bestowed upon any Christmas tree, and I'm so thankful to everyone who helped me travel those long 367 miles from home. I'm from Ashe County, North Carolina, which happens to be the Christmas tree capital of the world. At least, that's what I always thought, until some kids from the local middle school came out to the farm to see me. Turns out, they were real busy making a documentary trying to prove that Ashe County was the Christmas tree capital of the world. I didn't know that it needed to be proved. I thought everybody already knew. But it turns out there's some controversy about that. And those kids from Ashe County Middle School made up their minds that they were going to set the record straight once and for all.
So I was listening to this NPR, it's National Public Radio, the other day, and they were doing this piece on the Christmas tree capital of the world, and they didn't even mention Ashe County, North Carolina. They were talking about these two places. One is called Indiana, Pennsylvania, and Estacada, Oregon. I don't even know what they're talking about. And these two places are claiming that they are the Christmas tree capital of the world. And I was like, okay, I don't think so. And their claim to fame, the reason that they say they are Christmas tree capital of the world is because Jimmy Stewart was born there.
Wow.
And he was in a movie, a very famous movie called It's a Wonderful Life. And there's a Jimmy Stewart Museum there. They also were the very first place that the National Christmas Tree Growers Association was. It's not there anymore, but that's the first place that it was. They have put up a really big Christmas tree every year. For 2 years, get this, for 2 years now, they've had a Christmas in July festival. We've had a Christmas in July festival since 1988. We're going on like our 34th year of having a Christmas in July festival. So the other place is Estacada, Oregon. One of the reasons that they claim that they are the Christmas tree capital of the world is because they have signs that say that when you go in.
Man, that's not fair.
Whoop-de-doo. And the other reason is because they do put out a lot of trees, okay? But I think that recently we have been putting out more than they do. I'm not positive. We could check into the numbers. So what is it that makes something the Christmas tree capital of the world?
How much Christmas trees you produce?
Is it the number? If it's the number, it could be this could be this place.
Or how good the Christmas tree lasts, like how long it lasts and how good it looks.
Okay, what else?
Quality.
Estacada, Oregon. They put out a lot of trees, but you know what they don't put out are Fraser Fur. You could do it? Do you think that you could prove that you're the best?
Yeah.
All right, give it a try.
Well, with that challenge set out before them, the first thing those youngins set about to prove was that Fraser Firs make the best Christmas trees, and that the place that has the best climate for growing Fraser Firs is Ashe County. I remember when I was a little seedling.
Mom and Dad said it might snow tonight. I'm so excited. I love living here. The best kind of Christmas tree, the Fraser Fur, grows here because we simply have the best climate. The perfect climate for a Christmas tree to grow is 60 degrees Fahrenheit or less. They need a lot of precipitation in order to grow their full potential. Our climate varies from a low of 20 in the winters and a high of 81 in the summers. We have an average of 71 inches of precipitation in a year's time. 51 inches of it is rainfall and the other 20 inches is snowfall.
It is almost the end of April now, so it's been about 5 months, and you can see that it's still very green. It retains its color very well. I just saw on Facebook the other day there was a lady that had her Christmas tree up, and she still still had it and was hanging Easter ornaments on it. So this is another characteristic of the Fraser Fur that makes it a very desirable and undoubtedly the best Christmas tree, is that it retains its green color and pretty shape for a very long time. This is, like I said, 5 months.
Since Fraser Furs are the best, they last the longest and have the best smell and needle retention. We have on average 205 sunny days per year. We are not the only ones that think we have the best climate for Fraser Furs. A few other Christmas tree farmers agree.
Fraser Fur is probably one of the toughest trees for needle retention that there is of any species.
They will not grow in Wilkes County, so they require pretty mild temperatures.
Naturally at 4,000 feet in elevation, which is Mount Mitchell in that area. We're growing it here. Mount Rogers is in the high threes. We're growing it here in this area around 3,000 feet. And it's growing really good ideally. The land that you need needs to be facing north or northeast is the best way the land faces. Rain is good, especially in the spring when we plant our seedlings, because you all know, living in Ashe County, the land is so precipitous. It's hard the field irrigation is not possible, really. And to go through with a bucket of water and water each tree doesn't make sense. So if we get good rain in the spring, that's great. A lot of rain in the fall is not good for two reasons. One, for harvest, and two, it gets too much moisture in the tree. The only problem with a lot of rain in the spring is it'll cause the fertilizer to leach out, and it'll run off instead of go into the soil and into the plant.
Once they proved that Fraser Firs make the best types of Christmas trees and that Ashe County has the very best climate for growing them, those 7th and 8th graders needed to prove that Ashe County farmers only use the best agricultural practices. Why, I remember when I was just a young sapling.
Mom and Dad said our farmers are coming by to check on us tomorrow. I'm so excited. I love how they take such good care of us.
This man is our first generation fellow. And this guy, he went to an extension agent and he needed advice as a young man. He wanted to know if he thought that people would pay to buy a tree. And secondly, do you think Ashe County might grow a Christmas tree of Fraser Fur? Well, that extension agent said, well, you know, I've been hearing around the United States that people are experimenting with that just a little bit. And you might go in your backyard, get you some seedlings, because you could get native seedlings in Mount Rogers, in a grove, a stand of old Fraser Fur. So you could go up there when they would allow you every once in a while to go and pick some. So that was the advice from a very educated man that knew what he was doing. And he told him, he said, try it in your backyard, maybe 200 or so. And the response to this from my husband's grandpa was, I've already planted 86 acres.
Agriculture is a very important subject in Christmas trees. Here in Ashe County, we produce the perfect soil for Fraser Firs to grow and get what they need. Here in Ashe County, we also have the perfect elevation that Fraser Firs need to grow well and tall.
Ashe County has a loamy topsoil, which is the perfect combination of sand, silt, clay, and organic matter. Christmas trees grow well in Ashe County because we have the perfect elevation along with the perfect soil and moderate rainfall to support Fraser Fir growth. Fraser Firs are the best because they have a beautiful green foliage, or the needles are green. They can grow up to 50 feet tall. They have a mild fragrance. They're long-lasting and sturdy, so the branches can support heavy ornaments.
Farmers use various techniques to prevent problems such as root rot.
So now Now these are all sterilized and ready to go. If you kind of, well, I'll move this one out of the way. But all it is, heats up in the machine, and then that creates steam. The steam comes out. All the walls in there are insulated with foam, so it holds the our temperature in, and that raises it to the 178 degrees, like I said, and then it sterilizes your trays. So every one of these trays that you see out here goes through this process.
When you get much under 3,000 feet, it's kind of iffy whether or not they will grow, because the soil is touch and go. And Ashe County's blessed because it's got a lot of really, really good soil. And actually a fertilizer guy today and I were having a conversation, you know, his comment to me was, we were talking about fertilizer prices. He said, if you've got good soil, you might be able to back off a whole lot one year and get away with it. But the soil is the key to it. Soil, elevation, and the way the land faces.
Here are some 8th graders using kick nets the 7th graders made.
It doesn't.
Oh, like it actually put them together?
Legs, no legs.
Legs.
Bunch of legs or?
Bunch of legs.
Bunch of legs. Is it a crawdad?
No.
Is it a stud?
Maybe.
Is it a spider?
No.
No. So let's go back to the legs. Does it have wings or not?
No wings.
No wings. Tail?
Kind of.
Tail. How about the thingy-majiggy on his forehead?
Yeah. Instead of like infinite type of thing?
Yeah. So what I did a quick scan of our bucket here and counted all up the species. I think we have 2 in the category 3.
Non-tolerance of pollution.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
A good thing.
Yeah, good thing for our water quality.
Next, those middle schoolers set out to prove that the best genetics are going on in Ashe County. I remember when I learned about the birds and the bees.
My mom and dad just told me all about where baby trees come from. I'm so embarrassed. I hate it when they do stuff like this.
Dr. Andrew Bellimer is a geneticist at Appalachian State University. We asked him to tell us how farmers use genetics.
Historically, farmers have been using genetics for hundreds and hundreds of years before we even understood what genes are. So historically, farmers have saved seeds to grow next year's crop, but selectively saved seeds, to only save seeds from the most nutritious or abundant fruit. So you'd only save seeds from plants or trees that provided the best fruit to eat. And those seeds would get planted next year, and you'd end up with only progeny from the best plants. And then from that crop, you would save seeds from the plants and trees that had the best fruit, the most abundant production, and plant those seeds. And all of those genes from the best fruit keep getting passed on and passed on and passed on through generations. And what the farmers were essentially doing there was an artificial selection. They were driving evolution of these crops towards traits that humans wanted, that were desirable.
Ashe County is home to Frosty, the world's only patented Fraser Fur. Sean Poe explained to us how his father, Kent Poe, discovered it.
We always grew trees. From the time I was small, we grew trees, and we set seeds out, to grow the trees, and you set them out for 2 years, and then you transplant them to another bed for 3 years before they get big enough to sit in the field. After 2 years, he noticed a tree that was a little lighter colored, had different properties than the other looking Frasers. So they took it out separate and grew it, and through the years it still had the white color characteristics color-wise to it, and a little different needles. So it was something different, and he thought that it would be good to try to get a patent on it so he could produce them to sell. And he had to go through, it was a lot of lawyers, he had to take it to different colleges and everything and have them test show them the needles and get them to verify that it was different. The world's only patented Fraser Fur.
That's pretty cool.
And it is a Fraser Fur, but it's a different variety. The variety is Frosty. And this is a regular Fraser Fur, and you can tell the difference, looking that it's a little lighter colored, the needles are shorter.
Was it just a mutation? Like it
Right.
appeared one day and he was like, I didn't keep this
It
thing
was just
going.
in a seed bed that we'd sowed seeds in, and it was different than the other trees. You could tell from the time it was small, it just had a different look to it. And he took it out and set it separately.
One little tree.
Right.
Wow.
Mitosis is a major force behind heredity and genetics. Avery Barr taught us about grafting, a process which relies heavily on mitosis.
So, what we're going to want to do, we'll take our sawn. It only needs 2, maybe 3 inches. So just cut it off. There's your crown bud. So there's your top of your rootstock. Take one of our knives and we've got to whittle this down into a wedge, a rib. It should be pretty secure at that moment. Take your tape, stretch it out, make sure the tape is stretchy, and tape it up. Start a little below so it has some support. This is a good example right there.
We even got to graft our own Frosty Christmas trees to take home and grow. Thanks, Avery and Sean.
Seems to me like those kids have done a pretty good job of showing how Ashe County has the best climate for growing the best trees, and how they use the best agricultural practices, and how they have the best genetics. But probably all those other places would argue that they do too. But there's something extra special about Ashe County that sets them apart from all those other self-proclaimed Christmas tree capitals of the world. Is there any chance we can take a look at that footage again of how well Fraser Furs retain their needles and stay green for so long?
It retains its color very well. I just saw on Facebook the other day there was a lady that had her Christmas tree up and she still had it and was hanging Easter ornaments on it. So this is another characteristic of the Fraser Fur that makes it a very desirable and undoubtedly the best Christmas tree is that it retains its green color and pretty shape for a very long time. This is, like I said, 5 months.
Yeah, that's it. But let's rewind just a little bit.
All right, so this branch was cut off of the actual tree that went to the White House, and
that's right. That's part of me that they're holding there. They got that branch the day I was cut down. The day I started my long 367-mile trip to the White House, finally fulfilling my lifelong dream. But have you stopped to ask yourself how that dream got flowing through my sap in the first place? How does a humble little Christmas tree from Ashe County, North Carolina, even know that going to the White House is something to aspire to? Well, that dream happened to develop as I watched my family and friends make that 367-mile trip over the years. It all started in 1982, before I'd even sprouted, when Hal and Sarah Johnson became the first farmers from Ashe County to send a Christmas tree to the White House. Then they did it again in 1984. Ron Hudler and Danny Dollar sent a tree in 1995. And 2 years after that, In 1997, Sanford Fishel sent one. 10 years later, Joe Freeman sent a tree to the White House in 2007. And then, the very next year, Jesse Davis and Rusty Estes sent one. That's when I started really getting excited about things, because you know, Rusty and I were pretty tight. And when Rusty and his son Bo sent a tree to the Blue Room in 2012, I knew without a doubt that I had a real shot. And sure as shooting, here I am, the 8th Christmas tree from Ashe County to sit in the White House. There's no other place in the world that has sent as many trees to the Blue Room. No place has come even remotely close. And why is that? Well, it's because when the Capitol picks a tree, they're always looking for the best. And that's what those kids decided they needed to establish in order to prove that Ashe County, North Carolina, is the real Christmas tree capital of the world. That we are the best. I'm thankful to everyone who helped me make this 367-mile trip from one great capital to another. That's right. That's part of me that they're holding there. They got that branch the day I was cut down. And murdered.
Go. I'm a pro, you guys. Where are we going? Gotta go fast. Gotta go fast. Where are we going?
Hey, cut this out.
No, you want. It's if you.
Take 15.
And action.
Kobe!
But we want it